Oh, welcome back to the Basement Boys, your favorite dad chat. uh, welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. I'm Dylan. Joining me as always is Ben. I feel like you didn't like the Basement Boys.
No one did.
Okay.
No one liked that.
Well,
I
we're
I
in our
don't cut
basements. I don't know.
don't cut it because I want everyone else to feel as cringy as I felt in that moment. I want them to know my pain.
I'm just knowing. I'm just trying. We're spitballing here. People get tired of the welcome back to cocktails. Sometimes they want a little fresher, some a little fresh,
I
cool,
get that.
hip.
I do.
It's giving fresh, Ben. Like the youths are saying.
One, I don't know what the youths are saying.
Skippity toilet, Ben.
Two,
Stop mogging over there.
I don't know what any of this means. I'm such a boomer. Leave me alone.
Stop gooning, Ben. Also, I'm going to cut this at the beginning. I wanted to say this up front. I have my pre-show topics that I kind of ignored to start, but I wanted to say up front. You and I were talking last week about doom scrolling a little bit, and I just had this moment where I was like super fucking anxious, where you see something in the news and you're like, wow, what a fucked up world we live in. I want to go back to precedent times. But yeah, I just wanted to say, if anyone's listening, hopefully this is a little bit of a break, a little breather, a little enjoyment. You can get a chuckle out of this. But also, I know America's going crazy. So, and I'm one of the worst doom scrollers out there. So, if this is not enough for you, or if you just need to talk about something or get something off your chest, feel free to DM us wherever. TikTok, Blue Sky, our email, Instagram, whatever. Hey, we're here. I'm an open ear. And I will reach back out to you, and you can just rant or just whatever. Like, if you feel alone in the world, you're not. We're all going through the same shit. So please reach out because we're in this together. So I just wanted to say that, and we can get right into the episode.
I'm just glad we're on Blue Sky now, so I can say every time that you post that you're skeeting.
Great.
Dylan out here skeeting all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Ben, I just watched the Super Bowl halftime show.
Window.
Don't start.
From the
Don't
window.
Start doing
to
any
the
questionable
wall.
things where I might get put into rat beef. Okay. But this week we're taking a look at the 2024 film A Real Pain, directed by Jesse Eisenberg. So I was thinking about cocktails for this week. And I was like, Real Pain, like they go to Poland in the film. So I was thinking something like, specifically like a popular Polish cocktail, and all of them had like crazy like honey vodkas, like a very specific brand of honey vodka, like bison grass liqueur, whatever breed of grass that is.
Things you're not going to find in suburban Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you'd have to probably go to like a liquor store to like find. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy some crazy vodka for one drink. So then I was like, the first thing that had come to mind was like a painkiller. Doesn't really fit like thematically like anything. Just purely playing off of like a real painkiller.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. So then I was like, all right, painkiller. So then I was like looking at the recipe for a painkiller, which is like originated in 1970s in British Virgin Islands at the Soggy Dollar Bar, which is like, oh, it's a beach bar, and the only way to get there is to swim up to the beach. So that's how you get the Soggy Dollar Bar. But it's now trademarked by Purser's Rum. But it's basically it's 2 ounces of I think it's Purser's rum, 4 ounces of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of orange juice, 1 ounce of cream of coconut, freshly grated nutmeg for garnish, and a pineapple wedge. And so it's like, man, that sounds delicious. But I don't really have all the ingredients. And then I remembered that when I gave Ben some Curious Elixirs, one of the ones I kept was a coconut pineapple painkiller, baby. So, if you wanted to make your own painkiller, you can. Or you could go to Curious Elixirs and get some number 6, which is the coconut pineapple painkiller. And hey, you don't have to make it. It's already in the can, baby. Look at this.
What time? That's professional right there.
Oh, look at that pour. Oh, look at that. It's already ready to drink in the can for you. And, you can just pour it over ice, have it chilled in the fridge, and drink it. And you're not going to get you're not going to get a hangover. You're not going to have any of the after effects of drinking a boozy cocktail because it's going to be booze free, Ooh, it is nutmeggy. It is nutmeggy. I like it. Yeah. Okay, Dylan. Okay. Curious Elixirs, pop off.
All right. You do you. Let them cook.
Yeah. No, it's good. I like. I wouldn't say I'm like a tiki fanatic. I don't know. Like I'm not like crazy about tiki bars, but I like the tiki drinks, like a Mai Tai and stuff. And that little
Everyone
bit of like.
does. Anyone who says they doesn't is trying so hard to be masculine.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But just something about like that tropical like pineapple flavor with like nutmeg or like mint. Oh man, that's the spot. So this is the best one I've had so far from Curious Elixirs. I will say this is my favorite. But Curious Elixirs is booze-free cocktails made with organic, natural ingredients. And I'm looking at the ingredients, and they just kind of like they do everything right. I'll say. Like you think of like, like it's kind of like a mocktail type thing. You're like, they could really skimp out on some of the stuff, but like coconut cream, pineapple, orange, lime and lemon juice concentrates, lemon balm, American oak, chicory, ginger, nutmeg, black pepper, and blackstrap molasses essence to really get you the kind of like in that realm of that blackstrap rum and stuff. Oh man. So head over to the show notes and get yourself some Curious Elixirs. Try this number 6, man. This is the best thing I've had, and honestly, it's pretty damn close to an actual painkiller, man. So I'd try them out.
That honestly, even if it for the sake of not even the alcohol-free aspect of it, for the fact that you can just buy the cocktail right in the can, the convenience. A lot of the times those, you talk about the tiki drinks and that, I love them too, but unless I know I'm going to be like doing a whole day's worth of drinking,
it's a lot to commit to one.
Yeah, it's so much to commit to one drink.
Especially like if you're like a pina colada person or somebody who likes like with the shaved or like the really thin ice, and it's like, oh god, all right, let me break out the blender and
yeah,
it's like
yeah. Well, then it's not even that, but then your drink is done, and then before you can drink it, you've got to sit there and put all of the shit away,
clean up,
and by the time you're done cleaning up, it's like, oh, this drink's not even. It's not in the pristine.
Was it worth this?
The pristine condition I wanted it.
I mean, that's why when you go to a bar, the drinks are expensive. It's like, oh, somebody else did the work. That's their job. I just get to enjoy the drink,
Yeah, 100%.
But that's also where some of the fun is, with cocktails at home. But, yeah, hit up the show notes below. Check out Curious Elixirs. I'll also throw down the painkiller recipe, and some links to Caskers if you guys want to pick up some actual alcohol to make an alcoholic version. You can check out A Real Pain as of recording on Hulu. Hey, first time I've watched a movie on Hulu in a long time, and fuck them. Those ads were painful. There's like 4 ad breaks in this hour-and-a-half movie. That was something.
Yeah, it is crazy that the movie felt longer to me, and I think the only reason is because of the number of ad breaks.
Yeah, it just kind of kills the vibe in the middle of the movie. You're like, oh man, this movie's really, okay. come back in an hour or an hour. He'll come back in like 3 minutes and.
Oh, let's get right into this really heavy tension. Oh, nice. An ad for Purina dog food. Sweet. Great.
So, Real Pain is a 2024 comedy dramedy written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, starring Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, Will Sharp, Jennifer Grey. It's the story of mismatched cousins David and Benji reunite for a tour through Poland to honor their beloved grandmother. The adventure takes a turn when the pair's old tensions resurface against the backdrop of their family's history. Currently sits at a 3.8 out of 5 on Letterboxd, or a 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb, and it was nominated for 2 Oscars. Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role for Kieran Culkin, and Best Original Screenplay for Jesse Eisenberg.
Kieran won something for this, didn't he?
Maybe Golden Globe?
I think he won a Golden Globe. Yeah, that sounds right.
He won a Critics' Choice Award.
Okay.
The movie won Best Comedy at the Critics' Choice Awards. The Golden Globes, he did win Best Supporting Actor in any motion picture. Jesse was nominated for Best Performance in a Musical or Comedy. It was also nominated for Best Musical or Comedy and Best Screenplay.
Do you think Kieran Culkin's character was the supporting actor?
Yeah. I feel like Jesse Eisenberg's the lead. Like, I'm not like
that's a 50-50.
It's just how they do things. I mean,
Yeah.
If I had to say, I mean, the movie is kind of told through Jesse's.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot more time of him by himself than you ever do Benji by himself, but it just, I don't know. It seems like
I feel like the movie is like told through David's eyes, kind of.
Yeah, it just feels like the movie's told through David about Benji. Like, it just.
Yeah. But, I mean, then, I feel like you could argue it maybe both ways, but he is kind of like the supporting actor. I don't know. I don't know how they decide that type of stuff, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I would consider them both just like the starring or lead character.
Yeah. Because, I mean, majority of the movie, they are together in scenes.
Yeah.
Like, it's like...
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's based off of... Is it based off of screen time? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to look into this. If anyone out there knows, let us know.
Oh, interesting. It says voting members of the branch of the Academy get to determine if an actor or an actress has a leading or supporting role when they cast their votes, which is why studios try to influence the voting one way or the other beforehand. It says if Academy members split their votes between lead and supporting for the same actor or actress in the same film, whichever category first receives the required number of votes to be nominated is the one in which the actor's performance is placed. If they are tallied, the actor receives the required numbers of votes in both categories simultaneously, then whichever category receives the most votes overall is where they are placed. There's frequently controversy over nominations for the individual categories. For example, Rooney Mara was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Carol, though she had comparable amount of screen time to Cate Blanchett, who was nominated for Best Actress. Critics argued that the Weinstein Company, which launched campaigns for the actresses, made the distinction because it did not want Blanchett and Mara competing with each other in the same category. This is why studios usually decide which category it will campaign for in regards to a particular performance, and voters will follow suit. Timing on screen isn't everything when voters cast their ballots. For example, Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor in The Silence of the Lambs, and he was only on screen for 15 minutes. So, answers my own question, I guess.
So, moral of the story, the categories are made up.
None of it matters.
The points don't matter. The Academy just decides to do whatever the fuck they want, and you just have to sit there and take it. Welcome to America.
That's fitting. No one's going to stop them, Ben. No one's going to stand up and stop them with their powers.
Only one person would stand up and dare stop anyone and the Academy Awards. the the only problem is they don't stop the Academy. They just assault the presenter.
and then get
Thank you.
nominated for an Oscar. After
Thank
that.
you. It's 2025, and I did just make a Will Smith slap at the Oscars joke. We're still here. We're still here.
Our references are dated.
Thank you. I'm okay with it.
Anything that's happened in the last few years, I don't want to reference though. I feel like, um, yeah, neither of us had seen this film yet. It was definitely on my to watch list. I hadn't seen Jesse's first movie that he did, like When You're Finished Saving the World, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I didn't
With
realize he'd gotten into directing at the time. Um, I I should have, but
Yeah, it he's only done four things. One is a short film. Then he did When You Finish Saving the World, which was Julianne Moore and Finn Wolfhard, which is based off of like an Amazon original that he also wrote, and then turned it into a movie later. And then he's got a musical comedy, I guess, coming out with Julianne Moore and Paul Giamatti. There's a letterbox listing for it. I
okay.
don't know how true this is, but I'm kind of
You've
sold just based
you've
off
got
of the
me.
cast.
I was gonna say you've got me in the theater for Paul Giamatti and Julia Moore.
Um,
Please tell me more.
but I will say, after seeing this, I mean, I'm sold on anything he does. I want to go. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the first movie. It doesn't have great ratings on IMDb. I think it was like a 5 point something. But that doesn't mean anything. Sometimes it's just people don't get a movie, or it's just not for them, and that's fine.
Yeah, this movie. I would say it's mostly sold. I don't know. I feel like it's always hard to be like, I'll trust anything he does. Because if someone were to tell me Jesse Eisenberg's now directing like some, big action movie, I'd be like, I don't know. I'd be a little hesitant.
What? You're telling me you'd be hesitant? The guy who was in Zombieland and what was that other movie he was in? Where American Ultra, and Lex Luthor. Ben, you wouldn't let him direct a action movie?
Yeah, I'm saying I'd be skeptical. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say it.
All right, that's fair. That's fine. Fine, that's fair.
Now, if you're going to tell me he's doing a comedy, I'm in. Guy knows what he's doing. Even
I
a dramedy, I'm all for.
I did see an interview with him, or I don't know what it was, but he was basically like, he's like, yeah, it really sucks that I'm just like associated with Mark Zuckerberg now. Uh,
Fair.
which is fitting since we just did The Social Network. But yeah, I was like, hey, wow, this is kind of timely to the podcast at least, because yeah, that's what he was like. He was like, yeah, he kind of sucks right now, and everyone just kind of associates me with him, which I'm not him. So like,
I think, and I think the reason is because I've seen interviews with him where he comes across in that very snarky, sarcastic tone with an interviewer.
well, yes, that's. I was talking to Randall, friend of the podcast, the other day, and I was like, oh man, have you seen a Real Pain? Like, I feel like you would like it, like. And then I like sent him something because I was like looking deep diving on like Wikipedia or some shit, because Randall loves Ween, and I guess Jesse Eisenberg's favorite band is Ween or something. And he's like, I was like, if you needed a reason to like him more or something, and he was like, I heard he's kind of an asshole. And that's the thing where he's like, I think the deal was that he was like trying to riff with the girl because he thought she was like flirting with him, and he's just doing that like snarky, dry humor, and it just did not go well. And I think everyone saw that and was like, wow, he's an asshole. And then like he has since been like, guys, I'm not an asshole.
Well,
Like, that's not.
I didn't think it was like that's how he is all the time. But when that like clip like that, and that's the way you were in the movie where you play Mark Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
that's what people think of. Because I just saw another interview that he did recently where he was talking about, why he's now based out of like Indiana, and he's kind of left Hollywood and all these kind of other things, and he came across really genuinely sincere.
Yeah.
He did Conan O'Brien's podcast. I thought he was really funny on that. He was really came across really charming. They talked about Woody Harrelson. That was hilarious. Well, Conan tells the story, and I don't. I know I'm telling a story from another podcast. You could just go listen to it. But basically, Woody Harrelson said something at like an event to Conan O'Brien about potentially like, hey man, do you want to go 50-50 on a houseboat with me? And Conan's like, yeah, I'm in. He's like, well, I'll show you pictures. He's like, you don't need to show me pictures. I'm about to go 50-50 on a houseboat with Woody Harrelson. That's enough for me. He goes, later on in the night, I hear Woody talking to Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I hear him go, hey man, you want to go 50-50 on a houseboat? To this, Jesse Eisenberg replies, and he goes, well, to be fair to Woody, he does not understand how percentages work. I was like, okay. That's good.
One of my friends at my old job, he has a story about like, because we were in Atlanta, and he's like, yeah, I was at Piedmont Park, which is like basically like Central Park in Atlanta. He's like, I was at Piedmont Park, and we were like kicking around a soccer ball, and Woody Harrelson came up like shirtless and asked to join us and like kick around the soccer ball, and he just like played with us for like 15-20 minutes and was like, thanks guys, see ya. Like, what? I was like, do you have a picture? He was like, no, we didn't get one. But I was just like, what is a story? Like, it's like the Bill Murray ones when people are like, no one will ever believe you. Like, yeah, I won't.
Yeah.
I won't believe that you played soccer
No.
with Woody Harrelson. Like, but
Although,
it's crazy
weirdly
enough to like just be
that
real.
One, I would believe.
I feel like this movie, it was nothing new. Like, it's just kind of like a generic sort of like buddy comedy, like road trip buddy comedy movie. But at the same time, I think it is done so well. And it's very heartfelt, very emotional when it needs to be, pauses when it needs to. And honestly, I feel like I related with the story a lot. I mean, I'm not Jewish, but my family is from Poland, and like I've never been. Like my family just kind of ditched speaking Polish and all this, and I feel like that's one of those things where like you do sit there and you think about it and you're like, I should go to like where my family is from and like follow the lineage and like see like where my ancestors came from. So it is like something like that. Like they're very specific. Like, oh, we went to Poland and stuff, and I'm like, hey, like, what? So like I feel like I relate to the movie on that aspect. But yeah, I feel like it's just so well done on like this kind of like stereotypical like tropey, like boiled down to the basic story is kind of like this like tropey like buddy comedy. Like we're gonna butt heads on this road trip. Like we know that's gonna happen. Plus, I mean, the title is A Real Pain, but I think it's just done so well. And the like moments, like I said, where the emotion happens, like man, they got me. I was tearing up. Like we talked about, like Jesse Eisenberg doesn't get like a lot of the love that he kind of deserves, because I feel like some of the earlier roles where he was just kind of in like comedies and dramedies and like more like young adult, I feel like, oriented stuff, and then like we saw Social Network and like he was really good in that. But like, man, this movie, I was like, he's not playing like this crazy character. He's very grounded and down to earth, but like, man, like he got the waterworks a little bit there.
I know which show is Kieran
Succession?
Culkin on? Succession? Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
You're
I
trying
never.
to confuse it with Billions?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's exactly what I was doing. God damn, you're smart.
I know it happens to me too, but yeah, he was on Succession with
Uh,
what's his face, Jeremy Strong, I think.
yeah. I'm trying to think the other guy that's in there that I always
The
never
old guy,
remember.
Brian
Brian
Cox.
Cox.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
the McDonald's spokesman, Brian Cox.
I always think of him for being in all the Broken Lizard stuff, like Super Troopers, and I think he's been in some of their other movies too. But I'm always blown away at the fact that that's someone that they were able to get. But anywho, I never watched it, so I wasn't really familiar
Yeah,
with
same.
with Kieran Culkin. Oh my God, I finished this movie and I was like, damn, that kid. I still think of him being the little
The
brother
little
in Home
brother in
Alone.
Home Alone. Yeah.
But like, damn, he was so good.
Oh man, yeah.
He
Dude.
made me and it's one of those things where it feels like everyone knows someone like that,
Yeah.
like the kind of hipstery stoner guy who gets on your nerves, but like also seems to just be the life of the party,
Yeah.
but also is cringy at times, and you're like, "God, just shut the fuck up."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Like, well, the first half of the movie, I was kind of confused where it was going, because I was like, oh, like Benji's gonna be like, he's gonna like awaken something in David. Like he's gonna be like, because he's the one that's like, oh, let's go talk to these people. Let's do that. Like he's like encouraging him. He's going out, and I'm like, oh, like maybe this is gonna be about like David waking
Coming out of
something
his
up
shell.
in him. Yeah, coming out of his shell,
Yeah.
because he's reserved and like down to earth, kind of a pushover. But then like it kind of turns out that like, oh well, we kind of paint Benji as this free spirit, like he laissez-faire, doesn't really care about what's going on, but at the same time he gets people, and like he can talk to anybody and have these conversations, but then like, oh, he's got stuff going on, and he's, and it's like that scene at the dinner where, they're like, oh, what did they say? I forget what this said. Hold on. Like everyone else at the table is kind of like, oh, he's such a like troubled young man or something. He's like, who doesn't have something going on? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think David has that throughout the movie. They're talking about, you know, all these other things, and David's like, well, if we spent our time weeping for every single person,
yeah,
we'd never get anything accomplished. It's like, well, it's kind of a shitty thing, shitty attitude. You're not wrong.
yeah.
It's a shitty attitude to have. You're not wrong about it, but
Well, that's like, I feel like sometimes it just kind of pays off for Benji too, though. Like when he was like a total dick to James.
oh
Like,
yeah.
at the
Hey man,
cemetery.
Hey, can you just not? We're doing all this touristy shit. You're on a tour.
It's really cool that you have all these statistics, but can you just not like put the statistics out there all the time? Like we're in a cemetery, like let's do something cool, or can we see some actual Polish people? And then like at the end of the movie when he's like, I always ask for feedback, and you're the first person who's ever actually given it to me. Like thanks. And I feel like David is us in that moment. We're just like, what? Like really?
Because in my mind, as soon as he did that, and he's like, we just keep seeing all these touristy bullshit. No shit, Sherlock. You signed up for a fucking tour. What are you expecting?
It's like, what? I mean, yeah, you're. But then, like, I mean, he does when they're going through the concentration camp, and he's like, well, I'm not gonna talk too much. Like, I'm gonna let her breathe, and like, you know, like it is like he takes that criticism, whether it was good
Just.
criticism or not. Yeah, like. He took it and he changed it. But I was like, at the end of the movie, I was just like, God damn it. Why is he thanking him? It was rude. He was a douche.
Well, there's a lot of times that David or Benji does things in this movie, like when he lets him sleep through the freaking train.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I'd seen
And then
a
when
clip
David
of
points
this
out,
movie.
and he's like, you realize we're sitting in first class. It's like all the giant stink you just made about this.
Well, we earned it.
Yeah. You. All right.
I don't know if I'd seen a clip of this movie somewhere, and it was just that bit where it was like they missed the stop, and he was like, when he's like, "Hey, duders, like you were just like sleeping really, you look so cute," and I was like, wow. Um, God, what was it? Because I want to say it was Jesse Eisenberg talking about the movie somewhere. I forget what it was because he was talking about how like working with Kieran Culkin was like very collaborative. Like he brought a lot of stuff to be like, well, I think like if we did it this way or like change these things. Like I think so I'd have to look it up and see where that clip was from, but um, yeah, I don't. It's I don't know. I feel like this movie does like it so well because then I'm thinking of like just this ragtag cast of like characters that we get where it's like the old couple, the mom whose daughter married like some rich guy and doesn't talk to him
Okay.
anymore.
I did not put that together that was Jennifer Grey.
Oh, I didn't either until I like read the cast just a second ago and I was
Literally,
like,
when you
wait,
said
what?
that, and I was like, okay, we're not going to talk about this right now, but when we get into it, I'm literally just going to be like, wait, what? What?
Okay, it does like when I see her like this one picture on here and I see her, I'm like, okay, she does like it does look like Jennifer Grey. Like,
Uh, yes, but you just have to see it like in the
and
right. And
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's just because, like, again, I went into this movie pretty much blind, and
yeah.
also I don't think I've seen or at least paid much attention to Jennifer Grey
This picture right
being
here,
in being
I'm
in.
like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
Jennifer Grey. Like knowing and looking, I'm like, oh yeah, like that's Jennifer Grey. Like Dirty Dancing, like I could see it there. But
yeah, but the last thing like I remember seeing her or like noticeably, her being a main part of something would have been Dirty Dancing and
yeah,
Ferris
yeah.
Bueller's in like what, the mid 80s, mid to late 80s. It's like, okay. Like, so yeah, I guess I kind of didn't realize that what she looks like now.
Um, but yeah, like there's like the ragtag team of like the old couple, the mom whose daughter doesn't talk to her anymore, the survivor of genocide who found the Jewish faith through his like the community he immigrated into in Canada. You're like it was crazy because it is an interesting thing to like think about though, like because like Judaism is like an ancestry but also like a religion. So it is something that's like interesting to think about where like somebody can join the faith um, and but I mean honestly when you when you think about it like uh, how did you say his name? Is it Elogi? Is
Hmm?
that how is that how his name was pronounced?
Uh, yeah, I can't remember if it was a Logie or a Logi.
I think it's Elogi. I think you're right. But like I mean he if any of these people I feel like relates not necessarily relates, but has the most experience with what this whole tour is about, having have lived through this genocide within. I think it was Sudan, right?
Um, no, I think it was Rwanda.
Yes, you're right. Rwandan genocide. His whole experience, I feel like, is he has lived experience within this trauma that I feel like. I mean, the movie is it's kind of essentially about ancestral and family trauma, like generational trauma, because uh, it's not only I mean, obviously, the grander scheme of we're going through like these concentration camps, and this is where our families left and were forced out of, had to escape. But then also like Benji dealing with like the only person who really like kicked his ass into gear and stayed and like kept in touch and stuff, and the family was his grandmother, who he had recently lost, and which is like kind of this triggering event for him. Um, and just to alleviate from that, it was such a fucking funny moment when Jesse slaps him in the airport at
Oh
the
my
end.
god. Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, and he's like, why the fuck did you do that? He's like, I thought you needed that. You talked about grandma
Yeah.
doing it. He was
You
like,
talked
I
about
was
grandma
16.
doing it. Yeah, I was 18.
Yeah. So I was a kid. Like, what?
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh god. Oh god.
Yeah.
I just spilt Curious Elixirs all over myself.
Oh no.
Oh god. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh Jesus.
It looked like I pissed myself.
Oh nice. Cool.
Been skeeting too much on Blue Sky.
Oh god. Let's go. Keep all this in.
Well, what were we saying? Something about slapping somebody, I think.
We were talking about the slapping scene towards. Well, I'm gonna say towards the end of the movie, but let's be honest, it's like the last 6 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it is the end of the movie.
Which I will also say, kind of a weird ending.
Yeah, I don't know how to interpret the ending.
Like, I'm okay with the fact of, like, they're not. It could have been very cliched to have it be like the ending of Benji goes and has dinner with David, and it shows them, there being some sort of implied meaningful change in their relationship. I kind of like the way that they were just kind of like, you know what? We're not going to make this all kind of like camp, right?
Yeah.
Oh, when we leave camp, we're going to be best friends. It's like, you don't really talk to the people
Yeah.
ever again. It's kind of the same thing, only this is family, but it's still like, hey, I'll probably see you on your birthday or something. And I think maybe they'll make more of an effort here and there. But I think it was real to see that we're not just going to automatically make this big change that, our entire relationship is going to go back to what it was. Because it's not, it can't. It can't. David has a family. He can't really just be out getting high in downtown New York on random nights for shiggles.
Yeah.
But Benji just staying at the airport watching people was weird.
I mean, he's just kind of goofball. I mean, I feel like that's his character, though. While I don't, I'm not saying it was like the perfect ending. Don't get me wrong.
No, I'm just I thought maybe there was supposed to be some sort of like deeper meaning that I just didn't get. I thought maybe you'd have some sort of input other than he's just an oddball. I took it as like either, I guess the one other thing, the way I took it was like he never hasn't had direction throughout the entire movie, and maybe he's just like going with the flow and hoping that maybe something sparks while he's there. But I can't imagine. Or my other thought is he does not want
he doesn't
to
have a
go
home.
back.
He doesn't have a home to go to, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, he has whatever. He's living in his mom's basement,
Binghamton or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is just like I want the trip and the journey to last longer.
Yeah. Like he doesn't want, like, maybe
But
if there is this substantial change to him personally,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to go back to where something bad happened.
Yeah. Well, I also just don't want David to know that, again, I think even he kind of recognizes the way David sees him. And for him to just be like, yeah, no, I'm okay. and then be like, but I really don't want to go back to what my life has been, so I'm just gonna pretend for a little bit longer.
Just reading some stuff online here. It says that uh, while the ending is intentionally ambiguous, Benji still being at the airport indicates that he still feels displaced, unsure of how to move forward with his life, and needs more time to work through his emotions before taking the next step forward. It's possible that Benji is also at the airport because he's homeless. At the beginning of the movie, he has already been at the airport long before David arrives, and whenever David tries to call Benji's phone, he's always unreachable. Culkin has another interpretation of the ending that he shared at the 2024 SCAD Film Fest. That is the Savannah College of Arts and Design. Whoop whoop. Which is that the final shots is what David imagines happening to Benji after leaving him, and as he's afraid of imagining what Benji may do next after leaving the airport. Interesting. Like we said, like where the movie breathes when it needs to. Um, and maybe that is where Benji comes in and expresses that James needs to let moments breathe, and that's why that when they do the Holocaust tour, it is a very like somber moment in the film. Like there's not much talking, you just kind of like see, and then any of the talking that does happen is kind of like just James having like a monologue within the film, like voiceover of everything. But like I think of moments where there was like big emotion, like the dinner scene where he like vents and is like, oh, he took the sleeping pills and I'm oversharing, and like it's just I hate him but I love him and I want to be him, and all this. And then there's like the discourse up on the roof where he's like, oh, what are you gonna do after this? Well, I was gonna help my buddy with the roof, and he's like, no, what are you gonna do after this? Like.
So I want to go back to the dinner scene.
Oh, go ahead.
I loved the way that, and this I will give Jesse Eisenberg just flowers and applause. The way that he built the tension and just uncomfortableness in that, and it had me kept thinking that at some point, while David was ranting, you were going to just pan, because the shot was just tight enough that I kept waiting for that moment where it was going to pan up and see Benji had
like
already
him.
walked back in,
Yeah.
and just no one had the opportunity to interject.
Yeah.
But leaving it not having that moment almost made it more tense than having that moment of just I want to use the word climax, but I also really don't want to use the word climax.
You can.
All right.
It's not gonna be like a wiener joke. It's okay, Ben. You can say it. You can use that
I
word in
I
the context
always
of this podcast.
all right. I just worry. I guess it's true. It's just the two of us now. I don't have to worry about people making wiener jokes all the time.
I gotta step up my game then. Yeah, I like. I feel like that's where some of the like personal moments of this movie, like from Jesse Eisenberg, I feel like that might be one of those moments, because he does, when I watch interviews and stuff, he does kind of feel like he's a stressed out guy, like he's like an anxious dude, and I feel like David is probably a little personal to him, and just that whole monologue at the dinner scene, and you're just like, and he keeps rambling and rambling, and you're just like, all right, okay, he's been holding this in for a while. He needs to get this off his chest, it seems. And then like, yeah, like you said, you don't have that moment of Benji walking in and like him overhearing any of that, but you have that moment of like he starts playing the piano, and then David just like sprints out of there. Whether that is like guilt for saying all of this, or that he feels like nothing's changed, or I don't necessarily know like what he was going for there.
Yeah, I feel like it was one, when that piano came in and it kind of was the break. It kind of dawned on him as like I maybe I need to handle the way I'm feeling, or this is all just a lot,
Yeah.
and this is after that. I also wonder if it was just that realization too of like, they said like, oh, we took lessons when we were kids, and maybe that's just another thing that he's just has that envy of, and that's just another thing that is triggering to his anxiety. I don't know, but yeah, I do think that definitely felt real. That felt like Jesse Eisenberg having that moment, and either that was similar to a real situation with him, or maybe it's something that he viewed as like a character that he had played, or something where, that's the way he viewed himself versus the way he viewed a character. I don't know, but yeah, it did feel very, very much real in that scene.
I just feel like the whole, I don't know. It's funny. Where I was going with that was that, like, yeah, you have those moments that there's the moments of brevity, you have the moments where we get the emotion, but then there's also moments that, like, where you feel like there's that emotion is there or whatever, and then you're kind of reminded that it's a comedy. Like,
Oh, I mean,
I mean,
I think
the scene on the roof
oh,
where they're like
okay.
yelling and stuff, and he's like, you never visit me, like in Binghamton. Yeah, that's where I live. Well, I live in New York City. Like, why don't you travel down here? Oh, well, like, then you're making me feel like an asshole for not going to fucking Binghamton. Like, there's like little moments of like humor within that, like this bigger like scene of discourse and like emotion that's there. But then like when they go to the grandma's house is like the funniest scene to me where
Oh,
they
where they
like
put the rock down and the Polish guy's like, "What are you doing?"
yeah
Oh, it's like a Jewish
wipe
tradition thing. There's an old lady who lives here. She could get hurt. You need to move
it's a
those.
hazard. Can you take those off? Yeah, like just the whole fact of that, like that's that part. But then there's also like the dad who like doesn't speak English, and they're like, oh, we don't speak Polish. We're Americans. Like,
Oh
or
God,
like
how American is it to just be like, we don't speak, we're
we're
American.
Americans. Yeah, like that scene was so like funny and awkward to me. But yeah, I don't know. Just the first half of the movie was like pretty like cringy, awkward, funny to me. I don't like.
Yeah,
It's hard to describe. Like it kind of made me uncomfortable, but at the same, like I was like, when am I supposed to be laughing? Like it's like kind of uncomfortable, uncomfortable the way like Benji and David are interacting because I feel like Benji doesn't actually listen to him at all half the time.
this felt like a movie, and it's interesting because if you made this movie, I think I would love to see like 10 years ago. I feel like the humor is much different. If you made this movie 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, this literally feels to me.
This is Euro Trip.
Oh, no, to me this is Farley and Spade.
I feel like that's more than 25 years ago, Ben, but
All right, 30. Fuck you.
it's like 90s, early, mid to early 90s, I feel like.
Mid 90s, that's 30.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 30, 35. 25, you're only getting us to 2000s. This is American Pie road trip territory.
All right. Well,
20, we're at about like hangover type comedy.
oh, no, 20 we're at like Anchorman. Anchorman was '04. We're in the Will Ferrell golden era in 20 years.
Well, yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
don't sit there and
no,
shame me for talking about Tommy
no,
Boy and
when
Black
the
Sheep
hangover
being
come out?
95. Anchorman '04.
No, not the
Oh, The
hangover.
Hangover '08 or '09.
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't
so
fuck with me. But yeah, this feels very like it felt like a Spade Farley like buddy road trip movie where they're, two completely like diametrically opposed characters. Um Only it being that it's more, I guess, psychological humor than physical slapstick humor.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
the setting doesn't necessarily
Oh yeah.
I feel like appeal to the other types of humor.
Yeah. No, I get that. But I do want to mention now that comes up. Um, is it weird that the concept of physical comedy has just kind of died?
Have you seen the 100 Beavers movie? Because that movie is slapstick.
I have not. What the hell is 100 Beavers?
It's a Canadian movie that's gotten a lot of praise lately. Yeah, it's just a slapstick comedy film. It's got a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, or 7.6, I guess.
All right, but is it
I don't
also
know.
not
I
kind of
don't.
sad that when we talk about like slapstick or physical comedies, the first thing you think of is a Canadian movie?
I mean, I don't love like slapstick comedy, so it's not something that like I really miss. Uh, like I'm trying to look at like the top rated like popular slapstick comedies here.
I think just not even necessarily slapstick, but just like more physical. I think
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
like a Tommy
Like a
Boy,
Charlie Chaplin,
Chris Farley.
yeah,
I mean, to an extent, earlier Jack Black, I feel like was
Jim
physical. Jim
Carrey.
Carrey. I feel like we just don't have that anymore.
I don't know. I do understand what you're saying though. Is that like it just doesn't happen? I feel like, or if it is, it's like one gag and then that's it.
I mean, I'll be honest. The idea
Or maybe like Jackass killed it because like
maybe because they took it to a level that no actual like movie star is willing to do. But even then, I feel like, and not that I don't want to. I don't want to paint it that because obviously we've talked about this movie kind of being a comedy, but it's more of a dramedy. I feel like just the concept of a pure comedy movie has gone.
that I will agree, but when you think of like most comedies have some little bit of like drama element to them. I mean, a lot of the times within the plot, you know. Um, I just don't think they like it does as well anymore.
Oh no, I mean it just box office wise isn't successful anymore. But I also wonder just like how many are successful outside of theaters. People aren't willing to just, I feel like, unplug and enjoy a comedy. I
Yeah.
feel like and all right. Here we go.
Which we probably need, you know.
It's
Let's have a little brevity in these times, you know.
it's soapbox time, baby.
Oh God, oh no.
Get ready, internet. I'm about to spit fire. Here we go. This is my crazy take. Movie review sites like IMDb and Letterboxd killed the comedy genre. People feel like movies have to be smart, or they have to be too, or they have to feel smart watching the movies, so no one can just enjoy a comedy anymore. Because if a comedy movie doesn't hit everything that they feel like some masterpiece should be, they shit all over it. And because it doesn't get good, because it's not Oscar bait and the cool thing to go see, no one goes to the theater to see them.
Okay. All right.
That's where my stance is. I think people feel like, what are my options? Am I going to see this movie? Am I going to see this comedy movie? This stupid, just zone out and laugh for 2 hours comedy? Or am I going to go see this Oscar bait movie that when I post about it online, people are going to think I'm really smart because I really like this movie. And I gave it 8 Zib-Zab points on Zib-Zab rate. And now everyone knows that I'm cool and I like good movies.
I don't know if it. I don't know
Go
if
ahead.
I
Go ahead.
completely agree with
Give me
that.
the retort from the guy who has the Letterboxd account and reviews movies. Go ahead. I'll wait.
I don't know if it's that. I feel like comedy has also just kind of gotten absorbed by like all the other genres. Like I feel like there's not just like a pure, like you're saying, there's not a pure comedy anymore. But I feel like a lot of it is like
But why do you think that is?
horror comedy,
Do you think it's
romantic comedy.
Do you think it's because people can't just enjoy pure comedy?
I think it's that. Well, I don't know, Ben.
I think it's people
because
have
part
to
of
feel
me,
smart, so comedies have to be dramatic or this or that.
No, part of me wants to say that what it is that I feel like with this, we're gonna go into our boomer talk here, but well, I think what part of it is like TikTok and Vine and like YouTube and all this. Like, I just feel like attention span's not there.
I
I feel
I
like
will say it's also a thing where to bounce off of that, and I will say it's hard because nowadays you can scroll on your phone for 2 hours and watch however many different clips if you want to watch something that's going to make you laugh and keep you interested, and you can get that without needing a studio to spend a lot of money to do it. There's so
yeah.
much
I mean, I just think of like
there's so much amateur people doing dumb shit that makes people laugh on the internet.
what I was gonna say is like I don't remember the last time I watched a comedy special,
Like a
but I
stand-up
could tell you,
special?
yeah, like a full stand-up special. But I could tell you how many times I have seen so many stand-up clips on YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram.
I
Or
can
like,
tell you the last full comedy special I watched.
is it Ryan
It
Goodcase's?
is. It's our good friend
man.
Ryan Goodcase.
I have yet to watch Ryan's. I did start to watch.
I really liked it. I will say it's shot at, it's not like a big budget. It's not a really big production.
Yeah.
The content is phenomenal. Ryan is great. I still can't believe, looking back at who Ryan was, when I knew him, to like how he is now and being like, holy shit, where I feel like had I known more of this guy, I would have gotten along much more with Ryan than, just kind of I say friends, but realistically we were more acquaintances. But yeah, I can tell you that's the last one that I think I watched in full.
I did. I did watch. I did try to. I didn't watch the whole thing, just purely based off of time. But I did try to watch Connor O'Malley, if you know who he is.
The name sounds really familiar.
He's been in a lot of. I think you should leave quite a few times.
Yes, he was. He was a writer for Seth Meyers for a long time.
Yeah. He has like a stand-up special on YouTube. I think it's just is, but he's like a fucking. The whole concept is he's like pitching an AI comedy startup. So the whole thing is like a pitch presentation. It's just fucking crazy. But I don't know, his humor. I love like that absurdist humor, and that's part of the problem. I feel like is like sometimes you just don't get the type of humor that you want out of there. Like I feel like we're talking about like pure comedy movies. I feel like the last couple pure comedy movies I can think of that like come to mind are like Kevin Hart movies, which just isn't my type of humor. Uh, and that's not to say like they're not good, but I just don't. I don't watch like what's the fucking one with Will Ferrell, Get Hard or whatever, where they like go to prison. Like I'm like,
I will say I didn't see that one.
no. Or there is that one with the dogs. Is that just a pure comedy movie? Strays or whatever. Like Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx. Yeah, buddy comedy, adventure comedy. An abandoned dog teams up with other strays to get revenge on his former owner. That's where we are in the world, is fucking dog comedy movies. But, like, I'm not watching that fucking shit. No offense. Does not look funny at all. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think of, like, you ever seen Greener Grass?
No.
That is, like, pure Dylan comedy movie. Just absurdist, weird comedy. That's peak Dylan humor when it comes to a comedy movie.
I'm just watching like the trailer silently, and already I can tell this is a movie I would not enjoy.
No,
but it does have
it's
several
good.
people who I do enjoy them in other things.
Yes, Ben. Yes, it is good. I would recommend
Just looks like the
Grass.
weirdest.
It is weird.
That's the thing. You like shit that's just weird. It's funny just to you because it's fucking awkward and weird.
No, Ben. It is weird and funny. You can be both. They do not have to be the same. I like cringe, weird humor.
Yeah.
Why do you think I love I Think You Should Leave, Ben?
I know. I like haha funny. Dylan likes, that's kind of funny. Big difference.
This makes me uncomfy.
Yeah.
In a funny way.
Yeah.
I get a tingle. Anything else about A Real Pain? We've just kind of went off on a tangent on comedy movies.
We did, but you know what? I had to get it out there. I had to get my...
I agree. I don't know.
To get my hot take out there that movie rating websites have killed the comedy genre. I stand by it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just also think like studios aren't really taking risks on like flat out comedies like that anymore, though.
Studios aren't.
I feel like if they do get made,
studios aren't taking risks.
True. I feel like A24 is about like where you get a lot of the risk, but I mean, if they are getting made, it's like straight to whatever, you know, like it's straight to like Netflix or straight to you know, Amazon Prime. Like I think, what was that movie, Tag?
Did you ever watch Tag?
No. It
was good.
Like that movie I'm thinking of, what's that fucking John Cena one? The Ricky Stenicki or whatever?
I also enjoyed Ricky Stenicki.
Like that, like,
it wasn't great, but it was a fun turn off your brain and just enjoy a movie for 2 hours.
Which is, I mean, that's what a comedy.
That's what I want a comedy to be.
Yeah.
Would I prefer Ricky Stenicki had a little bit more laugh out loud moment? Yeah, I would. Was it still funny? Absolutely.
Ben and I had not seen this film. So you're going to get 2 fresh ratings from the Basement Boys this week.
Please stop. Please stop. For
Uh,
all of us. Not just me, but everyone listening.
so Ben, do you want to go first? Or you want me to lead off?
It doesn't matter.
All
However
right.
you want to do it.
Um, hey, I've said this for most of the film or most of the podcast. Sorry, it's about getting to film length at this point. Um, but the movie has its moments where it needs to breathe. It needs to have this emotion. It needs and it does it so well. The the two leads, Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, are so good in their roles. And like I said, it's not groundbreaking as far as like the simplistic plot, but it's done so well and so exceptional that I think it really just did so much for itself. Um, I think that we kind of talked about like it's a dramedy comedy, like, but there's some moments where I was laughing. Like, there's a line where when they're talking about mailing the weed, and he's like, they're gonna arrest two Jews in Poland for weed. That'll be a good look for them. And I was like, whoa, shit, like, damn. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know, like yeah, like we were saying, where there's like weird, like cringy, kind of making me uncomfortable parts where he's like talking about his feet and stuff, and I'm like, what is going on in this part of the movie? But for every moment where you're laughing or you're like a little confused at like Benji, just because he's kind of like an odd character, but like there's moments where you like feel for him, and like when he has that like drunken outburst at the dinner, uh, and like kind of excuses himself, and then like David like gives us all this information. You're like, damn, you kind of feel bad for him, like he puts off this one facade, but then like deep down there's something completely different going on. Um, but yeah, it's so good. It's kind of hard to like sit here and like pick apart and explain the movie. I feel like because there's like scenes that were funny, or there's like moments that are really good, but I'm not gonna like just analyze the micro like bits of it to be like, oh yeah, like this is the whole movie, and I don't know. It's really good. I would recommend it if you have not seen it. It's honestly, I mean, I haven't seen too many movies from last year, um, but it's really freaking good, and it's probably like up there for me, top three so far that I've seen of last year. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Um, yeah, really, just really well made. Hats off to you. Except I'm gonna leave it on because I have a hat here. Hat stays on, but off to you, Jesse Eisenberg.
All right. It's a weird ending to a review, but all right. Um yeah, I was kind of shocked towards the end of this movie and realizing that this was just such a good I, okay. This movie has obviously a plot. Two cousins go on a tour of Poland uh, to visit, or I guess to, I'm gonna call it, learn about their family's history. This movie, the plot is kind of it's relevant, but not in the sense of that's where a lot of the impact of the movie comes from. This was such a good character study movie of two people who are so opposite in their stages in their life, um and was just so well done. The Like you said, like we've talked about, the tension in the movie, the giving things space, the build, the crescendos, the almost abrupt, it seems like, break you get from that tension at times, was just so good. Kieran Culkin, well earned. Any awards he gets for this movie was phenomenal. I both really liked him and also wanted to punch him in the face. It's probably a good 50-50 split in this movie, and that is not easy to do. But I also wanted to slap him in the airport.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah, I recommend this movie. I think it's really well done. Like I said, as a character study and just really Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin as just family is super believable. Everything felt real. Nothing felt like some Hollywood ending that you're going to get. I had it as 7.5. I really enjoyed it. I think people should definitely check it out if they haven't.
Uh, yeah. What you were saying about like you love him and you hate him. Yeah, it's like there's like the moment where he goes and talks to, I think it was Maria. Is it the mom character?
Yes.
Like when when he goes up to her to like talk to her at the one point, and he's like, "What are you, fucking depressed or something?" Like I was just like, "What?" Like that's what you're leading this conversation off with? Like,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, he such a complex but really well done character to where it's like, no, God, you're good, but you're kind of a shit, but you're also like, that's I love a complex character. That's what I want in a movie. I don't want it to just be this cookie cutter like.
He's one of those where you're always like, you're right on the verge of getting it.
It's like the opposite of Uncut Gems, where he just keeps making the wrong decision the whole movie. This one, you're almost there.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yep.
Um, yeah. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod, and check out our website, cocktailsandclassicspod.com. Head up the show notes. There'll be some caster links down there in case you want to make yourself an alcoholic painkiller, or you can head up these show notes and get yourself some Curious Elixirs. Number 6, the non-alcoholic painkiller, is top tier in my opinion. Hit up, well, no, you don't have to hit it up, but you can head over to Hulu and you can watch Real Pain if you haven't seen it, or check out some of our other episodes wherever you listen. Share us with your friends and family. Check us out next time, and as always, watch responsibly.